Good evening.
Good evening.
We want to call the meeting of February 10th, 2015 to order at 6:30 p.m. If we could have start the meeting with an invocation by Board Member Mac McRae, followed by the pledge from Board Member Joe Casello. If you please rise.
Let us bow to the Creator Maker of all mankind. We pause this afternoon just to tell you thank you. We've been paused just to tell you thank you for the changing of the temperature, for it is just a reminder that you're still in control of this world that we live in. We pray for our brothers and sisters who have things less fortunate than we are. But we just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for your goodness. Most of all, thank you for your grace and your mercy. We pray for this meeting. Continue to hold it in the hollow of your hand. But most of all, let us agree to disagree. And when we walk out, let us walk out with love for all mankind. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Chairman Taylor.
Present.
Vice Chair Casella.
Present.
Mr. Buchanan.
Here.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Mr. Hay.
Here.
Mr. McRae.
Here.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Have a quorum.
Thank you. That takes us to under legal. We are going to ask for an update from Mr. Ken Spilius on the investigation that we requested, and also on the probably a special meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Let me first start, because I know that there may be some folks that don't realize why I'm standing here and not sitting on the dais today.
Thank you.
As of the end of this month, I am withdrawing from my law firm and taking a permanent position as town attorney with the town of Ocean Ridge. An opportunity that surprisingly opened up. And Tara Dewey, my partner, who has been actually doing at least behind the scenes, a greater deal of the work in the last few months for the town, will be taking over for me, and I think you'll find that she's a very, very capable attorney. And I do want to say that I've enjoyed this second tour of duty as CRA counsel. Boynton Beach has a lot of things going on, and great promise for the future, and the CRA is going to be in the vanguard of that. So I will miss being a part of that to some extent. I want to thank you all for the opportunity.
We want to thank you for all your effort, and working with you has been a pleasure, and thank you.
Thank
Wish
you.
you the best in your new endeavor.
I appreciate it. With regard to the investigation, as you know, at the board's direction, I engaged the services of West Palm Beach attorney Christine Hanley, who is an expert in employment law and employment relations, has done many of the types of investigations that the board asked for. She started almost immediately after the last board meeting, has conducted a number of interviews. I spoke with her yesterday to get an update. She has completed her interviews. She's in the process of developing a written report to present to the board that will include her findings and also some recommendations in moving forward. What I would like to do, and I'm asking the board to do today, if you can, is schedule a special meeting. I think between now and your next meeting, she will actually clearly be done with the report. And I anticipate it actually being ready by the end of next week. And I would like to suggest a special meeting. I've checked with her calendar. She's available the week after next. No, I'm sorry, next week. She'll be done with the report by the end of this week. She'll be available February 16th, 17th, or 18th. If you are inclined to have a special meeting. I think it's an important enough topic, and you're going to focus on it enough that it probably deserves a special meeting, but that, of course, is up to you. I know Tara and I are both available the 16th.
believe the 16th is a
Is a Monday,
holiday.
is a
isn't it?
holiday.
President's Day.
So it would be the 17th or the 18th would be the other 2 days that would be available. Ms. Hanley's not available the 19th or the 20th.
Whatever. I could do it either 17th or 18th, whichever.
I'm better off with the 17th.
You're better with 17th?
Yes, sir.
How about everybody else? Everybody okay
That's
with
good.
17th?
17th.
What time are we talking about?
Depends on how much discussion there's going to be. Your commission meeting begins at 6:30.
Yes.
I would suggest 5:30. I think an hour would be plenty of time.
Hour will be plenty of time. 5:30 on the 17th?
Fine with me.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll notify Ms.
You'll
Hanley.
notify her then?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, that moves us to agenda approval. Any other additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
So the motion is unanimous. Informational items and disclosures by the board members and CRA staff. Staff have anything you want to say?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Board Member Hay?
Yes, I did come out to the art symposium, the kinetic art. I saw some interesting things and talked to some interesting people. I thought it was well done. A little spread it out this time, but it was well done. No disclosures either. Thank you.
Board Member Fitzpatrick?
No disclosures, but I have something I'd like to say. Yesterday at my meeting with Vivian, I almost had her to tears. Her eyes were glistening and there was a lot of emotion in her voice. She was upset because I was saying I was seriously planning to vote against the Gardner proposal simply because it was in District 2 in retaliation for comments by Commissioner McRae had made about how he's going to vote against the proposed Greenway Bikeway natural area in District 3. Essentially, she said, "How do you expect me to accomplish anything if you vote crazy?" I conceded she had a point and tried to explain to her the ways guys interact with each other. From the time in Cub Scouts when another 8-year-old knocks your cap off till the day you die, you have to respond forcefully to any unprovoked attack from another male. Otherwise, they will see their fun has no cost and they will continue to do it again and again. Her response was, "Have you tried talking to Mac?" I had to admit, no, I had not. But okay, I give her away a try. "What is his phone number?" And I called Commissioner McRae right then. His response was he would not talk about the land purchase because of the Sunshine Law. I said, "I know that." I tried to say I wanted to talk about past votes and how to work together, but he cut me off. End of conversation. So here we are in a publicly noticed meeting with all the sunshine requirements. What I wanted to talk about is my philosophy on interacting with other commissioners. The first principle is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The second is live and let live. We're all different, and I don't expect you to see things my way all the time, but so what? I will try not to hold that against you. The third is Ted Turner's motto, lead, follow, or get out of the way. If somebody has a project they are invested in, I will try to follow along. The Mayor and Woody's initiative on mental health as an example. The fourth is understanding the political process is a constant give and take. When I was very involved in volunteer groups, I considered if the results ended with it being 85% of what I thought was best, that was a bullseye. For instance, Kids Kingdom, the playground 75 yards from here, is totally not the playground I wanted. There is no climbing wall. But nevertheless, it is a good playground and has provided hours of play for thousands of children. The fifth principle is my word is my bond. The problem for me is what to do when the system breaks down. What should I do? How should I respond when another commissioner is doing things to me I would not do to him? When it feels like there is no live and let live, but trying to control me so tightly I cannot breathe. When they stand like an obstacle between myself and a goal I invested hundreds of hours in. when they are quite willing to take millions of dollars in my votes but give no votes in return, when their word cannot be trusted. This is a problem for me. I have not worked out a response because Vivian has taken away all the fun ones. And I do not plan to spend a whole lot of time thinking about responses until things have all shaken out. And I would much prefer to move forward in a positive direction for the city. I will end this with 2 examples of my word is my bond that I find troubling. As soon as I can click on the correct document. From the September 3rd, well, we'll start with the other one. From January 21st, 2014. Mayor Taylor shared Commissioner Fitzpatrick's desire for more green space. He complimented Commissioner Fitzpatrick on the data he had gathered meeting with county officials and a report and information submitted. Mayor Taylor thought the negotiation to purchase the property from the county for $100,000 could be pursued. And then from September 3rd, 2014. Commissioner Fitzpatrick asked where the $100,000 was budgeted for the 4.8 acres around Lake Ida. Commissioner McCray asked if the funds could be obtained from parks impact fees. Ms. Laveri replied there was a park impact fee fund to be used for park improvements or planning. There is a balance of $585,000 with $250,000 to $300,000 encumbered for projects. The budget could be adjusted for $100,000 funds pulled from fund balance or reserves. Later on, Commissioner McCray, quote, Commissioner McCray disagreed with Commissioner Merker and contended the park should be obtained for, if available, for future growth. Motion, Vice Mayor Casello moved to have the money set aside for the purchase of the site out of the park impact fee. Commissioner McCray seconded the motion. Vote 4-1. Commissioner Merker dissenting. Thank you.
I just want a couple of comments there, Commissioner, Board Member Fitzpatrick. First of all, I commend you on your very strong desire about greenways, and I want to tell you that I support that, and I say that we do have a greenways and blueways plan that we've all agreed to through the meetings with the CRA planning, and it's in our plans. And I will support you on any greenways project that I think merits that support. I totally support that kind of thing. However, I do say that if I don't think a particular one is at the right time or at the advantage of the time, I may or may not support that. So having that being said, I want to tell you I'm a little concerned about, you're talking about you wanted a board member to vote for, or commissioner to vote for a project in your district, or you ain't going to vote for a project in their district. That's a little unethical. I think you need to really check that out and be very careful. And to state that publicly is that I don't believe that that's ethical to trade votes back and forth like that. That's not the idea. You're supposed to vote on what you think is good for the city, solely based on that, not because one commissioner is going to vote for something you want and you're going to vote for something they want. That's not how it's supposed to work at all. That's, I believe, I think that's unethical. I would stand to be corrected if that's not true, but that's what I've always felt. So I just want to say that much about it, so I'll leave it at that.
Well, I have to respond to that. As I pointed out, I told you I was thinking about it. Vivian straightened me out. I'm not going to do that.
Thank you. Board Member Casello.
Thank you. Could I go back and pull 2 things off the consent agenda with your approval?
Sure.
Okay. I think it's 8D and 8E, just for a point of information.
D and E on consent? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Anything else?
No, nothing to disclose.
That's a motion to amend.
Yeah, is there a motion to amend to pull items D and E off the consent? Is there a motion? I think
I made a motion to amend.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the motion unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, Board Member Merker? Anything?
Let fellow commissioners speak before I speak, if that's okay.
Board Member McCray?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one disclosure, and that was that I met with Scott Saturday, along with the president of Inc. in regards to Yachtman Plaza. He was down from New York. We had a nice discussion, and we understand what he's trying to do. And the plaza that he purchased, this is one that's in District 2. No, let me say it like this. This is one that's in the city of Boynton. Perhaps if I start stating things about where they're located, in the city of Boynton, that we had been plagued with many, many years. I'm just saying, with bars over there, loitering, littering, etc. And this man came forth and said that he wants to upgrade to make Boynton a better place for all of us to live. And I wholeheartedly agree with the project that he's going to put forth and everything. And I also spoke with our CRA attorney in regards to him leaving. I just want to say to you, sir, thank you for your time that you've given with me. Thank you for the time that you even given to us when we had the ethics class at Palm Beach State College. I want to say thank you. It's been fun. You know, during my trials and going through the years, you know, when I first took office, I said that when I first came up here, I had baby skin. And when I walked off, I had alligator skin. Nothing has changed. I was the one that gave the invocation this afternoon and said that when we leave from up here, let us leave with love. And that's the way I will leave tonight, with love. I love everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Buchanan.
No disclosures. I attended the Kinetic Art Symposium, and I just want to congratulate the city staff on putting together a fabulous weekend. Did a great job. There were a lot of people here. It was a terrific event. And also I want to thank Ken Spilius for his work with this board.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
yeah, let me just interject. I did also attend the Kinetic Art Symposium, and my boss that I work with in the morning time, he also lives in Boynton. I told him, I said, he was talking about the Garlic Fest in Derry. I said, well, we got something going on in Boynton, and you live in Boynton. He said, told me today, nothing was as fascinating as that talking tree. I said, at least you got something out of it. So thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Board Member Hay.
uh,
I'll come back.
I would like to say that I attended the signing of the athletes at Boynton Beach High School, and we should really be proud of our young people, because when we first started, we had no kids in the athletic department who got scholarships. Just last week, there were 15 kids that signed scholarships to major universities. And so Boynton is doing a great work, and so is the city of Boynton Beach. I just want to let everybody know that we are doing and we have a great high school and great kids.
Thank
Let
you.
me be the first one to clap. Thank you.
Board Member Merker, come back to you.
Yes, pardon me. I also went to the Kinetic Art Festival, but I was in a very special position Sunday afternoon. I was privileged and honored. I was asked on the church on Hadley on Old Boynton Beach Boulevard to give a talk on Black History Month, which is this month. And I enjoyed it immensely. Many people don't know the ins and outs of Black History Month as far as what the black community has gone through. Actually, 1926 was officially designated or brought up in this country as Black History Month. 1976, by President Ford, made it official in the United States of America. 1987, the United Kingdom recognized Black History Month, and in 1999, the country Canada did. A historian named Henderson, back in 1926, started the ball rolling. I love history because what history does, it teaches you the past to be part of the present and to look forward to the future. And this honor that I had to speak before this group of people at this church was truly an honor. And I think people should learn more and more about their own history, understand why they're voting for whoever they're voting, understand what history truly means. It's the beginning of time of a country and how a country moves forward. Black History Month is that important for all Americans to understand the heart and the soul of a group of people who wanted to be and are people of the United States of America. And I thank everybody for letting me speak about it. And of course, I went into greater detail. It was a privilege and an honor.
Thank you. I also attended the Kinetic Art thing, and I just want to say that it was a tremendous success the whole 3 days. I think we attracted over 5,000 people to downtown Boynton Beach. That's a big thing to get people to come into our community and see what's going on. Also, as an offshoot of that, the Children's Museum had a little setup there where kids had made designs, and they got some donations to the museum, plus they got more people to sign up as members, wanted to sign up for membership in the Children's Museum. So that was like a bonus for that whole event. Also on this weekend, I believe Saturday night, I attended the Women's Club 20s Gala. It was a gala about the 1920s. It was a fundraiser for the Boynton Women's Club, and we were very well attended. It was a great time. And also, as far as the Women's Club, I asked the Executive Director, Vivian, to send to our lobbyist in Tallahassee the background on the historic grant that the women's clubs asked for. I think it's for $50,000 for a historic grant. We're hoping that goes through in Tallahassee, and I want our lobbyists to get on top of it and see if they could help us. I think they're rated, their request is like 29th on the list of about 50 people trying for that same kind of money. So I'm hoping our lobbyists can maybe either move us up on the list or do what they can to see if we could get that grant. That would be very helpful. Okay. That's all I have. We'll go to announcements and awards.
Good evening, Board. Amy Zimmerman from the CRA Special Events. I'm going to recap was going to recap the movies. It did get rained out, unfortunately, so we are going to have that movie play at our April 3rd date, which the movie was Penguins of Madagascar. So we are hoping for better weather on that one. And we have a concert next week. We are going to be featuring a reggae band that we've had here before that has a really great following and has been part of our successful events. Sweet Justice will be here on February 20th. And then the last one is we have a new event we're going to be doing this year. It's a St. Patrick's Day celebration. We have named it Boynton Beach Blarney Bash, and that is set for Friday, March 13th, and it's going to start at 4 p.m. and run till 10. It's featuring live music. There's 3 separate bands that'll be playing. U2 by UV, The Crack, which was here for Pirate Fest and one of the more popular bands at that event. They have a more Celtic spin they're putting on their music for that event. And then we have Mighty Quinn also coming, which is a very popular local band, especially around that time of year. We'll have food and drink and green beer, kids activities, and and we will have a best green attire costume outfit contest as well to celebrate. So I hope all of you can attend. Mark your calendars. And Tracy's going to talk about ribbon cutting for the marina.
Tracy Smith Coffee, Boynton Beach CRA Marketing and Business Development. The CRA will be hosting a ribbon cutting ceremony for the Boynton Harbor Marina Master Building. This will take place, each one of you got a save the date card, and this will take place on February 26th at 6 o'clock from 6 to 8 at the Boynton Harbor Marina Building, which is 735 Casa Loma Boulevard. We will have a ribbon cutting ceremony. We'll have light hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and we'll celebrate the beautiful building that we made happen. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. This will take us to the consent agenda. Item D was pulled. Board Member Casello. It was the approval of commercial facade grant to the Boynton Beach Dive Center, LLC.
Yep. First and foremost, I'd like to say I'm in favor of these two great projects. I think it's great that this is happening here in our district. And during my discussion with you, Vivian, I forgot to ask these couple of questions. The dive center, the facade grant, I know it was just under the minimum of footage that's allowed to give these grants.
And the facade, that's not a requirement.
Okay.
That facade, that'll be later.
The build-out.
Yeah, that'll come later.
Coming up a little later.
Oh, okay.
Okay, facade that's not one of the requirements.
Table that one. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
And the Yachtsman facade, you said there was 2 grants going to the Yachtsman
Right.
Plaza because there's 2.
PCN, there are 2 actual properties with Yachtsman's, the north and the south.
Okay, so under
Yeah.
that premises, we can give the 2 grants.
Yes, we can. They're 2 separate properties. They're spending over $600,000
Yep.
just for the exterior.
It's great. I'm very happy about it. Okay, that's just what I just wanted to
Okay.
clarify. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to comment on the Yachtsman's Plaza facade
Certainly.
grants. Of course, I'm all in favor of them, but we have the president of INCA here with us tonight who has an interesting observation about one of the changes they're talking about making, and I know we don't usually do that this time, but I think if we could hear from him with his idea. I think it's an excellent idea, and I think we might want to consider it as a condition of the facade grant.
Sure.
Okay. Harry? That would be you, President Minka.
He's kind of new.
It's Harry Woodworth. I'm a president of Inca, 685 Northeast 15th Place. And get off this mic a little bit. What we were talking about was we met with Scott Maslin and Commissioner McCrae Saturday. Scott went over. It's the second owner we've met with on that plaza, because if you've lived in that area, you can imagine the interest we have in that place. My God. Anyhow, he's got a lot of good ideas, but one of the ideas he had was to move the bus stop to the south. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with how that works up there. When you're going southbound on Federal Highway, passing Northeast 15th Place, you can't make a left turn into Northeast 15th. The roads don't come across evenly. You actually have to go south and make a U-turn. In addition, right where that U-turn is, Shore Drive and Ocean Inlet Drive come out of Coquina Cove. The proposal to put the bus stop right down there in the middle of that would basically force the people coming out of the west side of Federal Highway to cross diagonally Federal Highway, the turn lane, and the cars coming in and out of Ocean Inlet and Shore Drive. It's already madness because the way the bus stop is, even in the middle of the plaza, makes them walk south across the curb cut for the plaza and diagonally across the intersection, which is littered with chrome and glass on a daily basis almost. I think anybody that knows that area knows what that's like there. People come out of the plaza, turn left without looking, straight across from 15th without looking, people making left turns, U-turns, and every other. In the middle of that, people try to get to the bus stop. It would make a lot more sense to move the bus stop, and Scott wasn't disagreeable about that, to the north side of the property, the northwest corner, which would make it closer to where you come out of 15th on the west side of the road. Put the bus stop on the west side, also on the north side, so now they're almost aligned with each other. You got pedestrians who are not crossing any intersections, any turn lanes, nothing at all, and basically there's nothing up there anyhow. It's the boundary between the apartments and the Yachtsman's Plaza. That was kind of what we were talking about. It's just kind of a more common sense thing that he probably wouldn't know about because he's from New York and doesn't really know the local pattern. And, you know, over there crossing the street diagonally is no big deal, but here it'll get you killed. And I'm surprised nobody's been wiped out there. So that's kind of where we're coming from.
All right, let me tell you. It so happens that my daughter works for Palmtran, and she is a very strong voice in where bus stops go. And she usually comes to these meetings. I think she might be here a little later, so you might want to sit down and talk to her and tell her what your ideas are there, because she'll look into it, I guarantee you.
I would love to, because once you look at it, it's just obvious that you just would not put that to the south.
And she knows what it takes to move or not move a bus stop. She'd be able to really work with you on that, and if it's possible, I'm sure she'd be glad to help you with it. So if she shows up later, I'll mention it.
I did meet with Scott Maslin Saturday as well. He had a very brief moment of time to meet with all of us. And he agreed to pay for a shelter. And I know that's one of your daughter's things. If she's going to move a bus stop, she wants a shelter. And he agreed if they moved it, he would pay for the shelter. the actual physical shelter. And if anyone's seen the one we just built on our property at the corner of Boynton and Federal, that same kind of shelter, he agreed he would fund that.
That'd be great if he built shelter, but
So-
I expect she might be in later. She don't get off
That's
till
fine.
late
I'll
up
be here
there,
for the
and
whole meeting.
I'll let her hook up
I'd-
with you.
I'd appreciate that very much, because, I mean, I think once you look at it, it's just a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
Okay,
Thanks.
great. I'm just,
I don't want to hold up his, however, I don't want to hold up his moving forward with getting this project done, because to get the actual stop moved takes a little more time than he's going to take to get this project actually done. So I agreed with him that we would work together to get that bus stop moved and get a shelter there, because I asked him as one of my wants and desires of that project, but they're ready to move now. They're like that. So
Yeah, I don't want to hold up the grant in any way either, and I want to see them move forward as rapidly as possible. But I am concerned about what Harry's suggestion is, because the safety of that area. I mean, that's a crazy area. A few years ago, husband and wife were killed on a motorcycle from a car shooting straight across there, and to put the bus stop down in that area where it's people are in more danger. I think Harry's idea is a good one, so I'd like to maybe we could pass that with some kind of a strong suggestion that.
I really, Mr. Buchanan, I really think these should be two separate days, because we really need to go forward with the facade grant. We need to fix that area
Oh, yeah,
regardless.
no, I'm not saying
But this, we
anything
need to, I
delay.
agree with you on the bus thing too, that can be done. But I wouldn't mix the two. I think that could, I wouldn't put a thing on it, you
and
know.
we need an easement agreement from him as well, because
Yeah.
we have to put it on his property, and we don't have one yet. So
Okay.
I think we can really push it, and
Okay.
but I just want to add that as Board Member McCray said, well, we've been needing that for a long time to get that area, whole Yachtsman Plaza could look a lot nicer, and we're going to be bringing in some. I know he's raising the rents and stuff, but it'll bring in a lot higher end commercial area there. Very good. So we need a motion on
Motion, Mr.
D&E.
Chair.
Yeah.
That we approve both 8D and 8E.
I have a motion to approve D and E. I have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Show the motion is unanimous.
Mr. Chair, since we're talking about Federal Highway and what we're doing over on the north section of town, the president of INCA got with me in regards to the FP&L poles, and we are moving along with getting those removed. I'm just saying the wood ones that's just standing up there. He also brought it to my attention about the mirror gas plant, also on Federal, and we drafted a letter today, and it's going to go to the president, expecting them and telling them what we can do, like to help beautify that corner with the trains coming in. So in regards to what Commissioner Fitzpatrick might have said, I'm working for the totality of the entire city. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to public hearing or public comments. Anybody in the public wish to address the board this time on items not on the agenda may do so at this time. I ask you to give your name and address for the record and try to make your comment in a 3-minute time period.
Daniel Spots, 805 North Federal Highway. I wanted to take a moment to make what I hope are constructive comments about the CRA meeting last month. I don't know who is right or wrong between Vivian Brooks and Commissioner Merker. To my knowledge, Mrs. Brooks has not filed at this time any formal charges against Commissioner Merker for inappropriate touching. That means her 2 emails are, to me, nothing more and nothing less than a bad mark, a bite, a smear on the reputation of Commissioner Merker. Those of us sitting out here in the peanut gallery cannot escape noticing that Mrs. Brooks' previous boss at the CRA, Lisa Bright, made similar accusations against Commissioner Member and Mayor Rodriguez. As I recall, Mrs. Bright actually did file charges with the police. Fellow commissioners accused Rodriguez of odd behavior and urged him to resign. When he refused, he was charged with domestic violence towards his wife, as I recall. Eventually, both Lisa Bright and Rodriguez were forced out. More recently, Commissioner Ross was accused of odd and indecent behavior. She reportedly emailed nude pictures of herself to her male cousin. Pretty icky stuff. Now we have CRA director claiming that Commissioner Merker touched her posterior. I rarely hear of any other community having even one sex-related incident involving elected official over decades. We now have at least 4 in the past few years. Either Boynton has the oddest, horniest group of elected officials or something else is going on here. Many of us out here have also noticed that since Commissioner Merker was elected, it seems to me that almost every meeting there is some kind of insult, backhanded comment, or cold shoulder treatment towards him, directed at him. I have been here when a citizen stood right here, was allowed to make some outrageous comments about Mr. Merker's supposed behavior in a local restaurant. I think it was Hurricane Alley. Even if they were true, the comments seemed to violate the Commission's policy about decorum at public meetings during the comment period. Yet the mayor let the person speak without comment or question. Now, I'm not a fan of Mr. Merker or defender, who could forget the odd invocation a few months ago suggesting a deck of playing cards could be a substitute for both the calendar and the Holy Bible. But when he was done, people in the audience stood up and jumped up saying, "Praise the Lord, amen, Jesus is king." Even the mayor commented with a straight face that what he said was all very true and very important. No, I don't think it is. Commissioner Fitzpatrick in the same meeting spent 15 minutes explaining how to reach the Peenemünde, Hitler's V-1 rocket base at Peenemünde from the closest train station, 15 minutes. So he's not the only oddball here. At the same CRA meeting, a concerned citizen asked, how could these sexual harassment charges keep happening? All city employees are covered by a strict HR policy and procedure for handling these complaints. CRA employees are not Boynton employees, we found out. All CRA employees serve at the pleasure of the CRA Board. That makes them the perfect choice to launch political assassination campaigns, especially if the person making the charges is in danger of losing his or her job. When I first came here, Vivian Brooks was a receptionist, as I recall, for the CRA. By any measure you care to make, Vivian Brooks has been a complete failure as a CRA director. She's a nice lady, but she can throw a pirate party or a bash or whatever, but in the past 8 months, over 21 businesses have left the CRA district and none have been replaced. More than 24 other spaces, some built by Vivian, with the help of Vivian, have not been rented in years. Yet she still claims that there is a shortage of retail space in the downtown. Millions have been spent with nothing to show for it. Why is Vivian still employed? Because she is doing exactly what this board wants her to do. And when the elected commissioners dissolve the independent CRA board and appoint themselves and a couple of their friends, we have the appearance that the CRA is nothing more than a taxpayer-funded slush fund for commission members to reward their friends and attack their enemies. I urge you to replace Vivian Brooks as soon as possible. I urge you to return the CRA board to members of the business community, the faith-based community, or other non-governmental organizations with the commission as a check and balance to all decisions. I urge you to immediately adopt the same policies and procedures for handling sex harassment claims at the CRA that the city has, or outsource the whole job to the city. There shouldn't be a discussion of what should we do. I urge you to call for an outside investigation of Mr. Merker by the governor's office or the FDLA, rather than this pointless in-house CRA investigation paid for by the members, the same members that want Mr. Merker thrown out. Lastly, I urge you to listen to your attorney when he says neither the CRA board nor the commission can vote to remove him. Only the governor or the people that elected him to do that. Let him do his job. That's all I'd like to say right now. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wish to address the board on items not on the agenda at this time? Seeing none, we will close public hearing comments. Go to old business, item A, consideration. Well, first I need this
Motion to
item A to be
remove from
removed
the
from the table. I have a motion to remove from the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, show the motion unanimous. Consideration of direct incentive funding agreement for 500 Ocean project between Morgan Boynton Beach LLC and Boynton Beach Community Redevelopment Agency.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is back before you. We were waiting for 2 items on the exhibits. One was the proposed green elements that we asked the developer to do, the list of those elements, and then how they were going to be monitored over a 10-year period. And when we got them, I was working with Andrew Mack and the city, who is a lead. He's LEED certified, and I wanted him to go over those and make sure that it met the criteria. The developer initially had asked for $3 million up front and then a 15-year TIF agreement. And today, what we have before us is a 10-year TIF agreement and no upfront money. Just to be clear for the press, there is no upfront money from the CRA. They will only get paid when this project is built and on the tax rolls, and the CRA and the developer will share in the tax increment created by the project. So I recommend approval of this agreement.
Okay. Does the developer here want to make any comments?
Tom, do you want to say anything?
Good evening.
My name is Tom Hayden, Orlando, Florida, and I am with the developer Morgan Boynton Beach LLC. And I just wish to reiterate Vivian's comments that it took a fair amount of time to reach an agreement, and from a personal perspective, I found Vivian to be extremely professional and to always have the best interests of the city in mind when we sat down. Never did I find that she was doing anything other than representing the city in a fashion which I think all the board members would be very proud of. That being the case, we are hoping to get started in April, provided we can get approval, and all the plans, the garage and the site will be submitted this month, at the end of this month, followed by the building plans, which will be followed in March next month. So that's what we're planning for.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I'd just like to say, Mr. Hayden, we've met a few times, and your patience and how you went forward with this when, at certain times it didn't look that good, and you guys kept your nose to the grind wheel, and we got this deal done. And I commend both you and Vivian for making this happen. I think, Mr. Mayor, you've been quoted as saying that this is going to be a catalyst for our downtown, and I agree with that 110%. So for that part, I thank you, sir.
Our faith in being part of Boynton Beach has not wavered. There's been bumps in the road, but we believe in the location, we believe in Boynton Beach, and we're looking forward to get started.
Great.
Mr. Mayor, I have,
Board Member McCray.
thank you. I have questions. I'm just saying, first of all, what of the comments you made prior, that's personal. My take is that what Mrs. Brooks said about, what she stated, are you in agreement? That's the way I'm going to be, what I'm voting for.
There is no...
Are you in agreement with that?
That she had said no upfront money and then the 10-year plan. Yes, that is the agreement.
Thank you, sir. That's what I need to hear.
Correct.
Board Member Hay.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Fitzpatrick.
I just want to clear on Section 8, limitation assignment of project ownership. Is that reading that this project shall make this agreement null and void if in this event, let's see, the CRA is not liable for payment of any direct incentive funding under terms of agreement? Is that if the changes ownership, the TIF goes away? Is that the way I'm reading it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody in the public wish to address this item? Come forward.
All right, just quickly. First, to the developers, I want to make sure that he realizes that within the next year and a half, the FEC, Dan Spots, 805 North Federal Highway, the FEC will be running 30 freight trains. In the 45 minutes we've been here, the train's gone off 3 times in the past 45 minutes. We will be running 30 freight trains per day within a few yards of your apartments. If all aboard Florida gets its way, they will be 32 passenger trains going 80 to 100 miles per hour a few yards from your retail stores. The way your project is laid out, with the main entrance and exit right next to the railroad crossing on Ocean Avenue, you can expect 60 or more closings a day, backing up traffic for your tenants. The quiet zones are not a guarantee. Are you prepared to assume the moral, if not the legal responsibility to warn each and every tenant in writing about the plans for the railroad? You said you're happy with the location. Do you even have any tenants already set up for this? To the commission, what is the $4.4 million actually for? First, it was described as an investment incentive. Okay. Then it was called rental support. Now it is advertised as a green incentive to developer. The developer is required to put in 3 places to charge electric cars. Why is the CRA paying for this? How does the $4.4 million benefit the existing businesses and residents of the CRA district? How pathetic does Boynton look if we have to pay Walmart $2.3 million to locate here and now another developer $4.4 million to build this project? Does this tangled mess of limited liability corporations have any guaranteed tenants? A Macy's, a Nordstrom's, an Apple computer store, anybody can hire a crew to build some empty retail spaces and offices, but a developer comes with guaranteed tenants. Vivian Brooks claims that there was a shortage of retail space in the downtown area, but half of Las Ventanas, Marina Village, Ocean Walk are empty. 100% of Casa Costa retail space right across the street from this is empty. Over 21 businesses have recently left the downtown. If you subsidize this building, if you subsidize the building of this more empty retail office space, you further decrease the rental values and therefore the property values of those of us that own business property here. This is another field of dreams, it looks like. Build it and they will come. Until you realize that downtown Boynton can never reach its full potential while 60 trains a day pass through it without stopping, we will continue to waste money with this. I urge you to look really hard at this, or at least put in better writing. Does he have guaranteed tenants for this? Thank you.
I just will comment that your question about the TIF money, the tax increment financing does exactly what it's supposed to do, attract businesses into an area that otherwise would not be developed. And we've been working very hard to develop a downtown in Boynton Beach for years now. And so this is not something that just, that's why you do that, to attract businesses. And in order to build something like a downtown, you have to attract both the business and the population. You have to have the people that are going to support those businesses. That's why you do mixed use. And I could go on, but I hope you can grasp some of that, why that works that way.
I'd like to say something first to Tom Hayden. From the day I met him, he seemed like an honorable and business type of man who wanted to move forward. Vivian Brooks has taken a lot of time and effort to put this together, and kudos to her to making it happen. This project, I understand the question, but in any business that you have, there's a question of success or failure. I think the time that it has taken to put this together in certain ways is a plus, because the CRA has had to dot the I, cross the T, negotiate and negotiate and negotiate. To be negative, and I understand the factor of the trains, but so is other cities involved with this potential issue to be. But that should not stop the progress of a city to move forward. May I ask you what you have to say?
Yes.
You mind if I finish?
Not at all.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Nobody's interrupting you.
Because I believe very strongly in the project that Mr. Hayden is doing, and I want him to be successful, because if Mr. Hayden is successful, the city of Boynton Beach is successful, and it's that important. And I wish you the very best in getting it going, the first hole in the ground, and let's all of us be optimistic rather than pessimistic, because Boynton Beach truly needs development.
Board Members Casella?
Yeah, and just to allude to the last speaker there, you're here week after week and talking about this train. It's coming. Boynton Beach cannot stop this from happening. We've got to live within those parameters, what it's going to do. This gentleman here is proposing 341 apartments. 341, that's people, that's residents in that downtown area. Hopefully, those people will make that Carmus want to come and start filling up those empty storefronts. We need people. This is what this is doing. So don't blame, you look like you point, sometimes we lose 21 businesses out of the CRA district. You always give us great numbers every week. Here's a place where we're bringing some people in, maybe to bring in businesses. So work with us and try to be a little more understanding of it.
Chair, I just want to point out that What's happening in the CRA is what you're seeing is the non-credit-worthy businesses are leaving. And what's happening is the credit-worthy businesses are coming in, and a perfect example of that is Sunshine Square. They were able to fill that entire plaza now with all credit-worthy businesses. And what's happening now in Costa Costa, they just signed a lease with an Argentinian steakhouse, and another restaurant's coming in there. So these are credit-worthy tenants. The CRA is changing, and so what you're seeing is the businesses that are not credit-worthy and their rents are going up, they can't sustain. And that is what the change is. And if you've ever been in a CRA, and this is my second CRA, and I've never been a receptionist anywhere in my life, never. You'll see that happen. That is a thing that happens. The small businesses that cannot sustain as the rent increases, they end up moving out and credit-worthy tenants. And in Las Ventanas, they're working with national credit tenants right now on lease arrangements. So that is what's happening in this CRA right now.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Tom for hanging in there. He and I did go round and round, toe to toe. But you know what? I've known Tom a long time before I got to this job where I was not a receptionist. And we've known each other a long time. And I admire Tom, and I admire his company. And I'm glad he's here, and I'm glad they're investing in downtown Boynton. And I hope many of his tenants will get on the commuter train when it stops here and go to Orlando or go to Miami or wherever they want to go.
Board Member Hay?
I concur with all that's been said, and I'd like to make the motion that we approve the direct incentive funding agreement for the 500 Ocean project between CRA and Morgan Boynton Beach LLC.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So the motion is unanimous. Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Right. Mr. Chair, before we move on, you know, I like to say this because this is bothering me, and I'm just saying, you know, a citizen came up and made a comment about somebody was a receptionist, and the individual said they was not once. I'm just saying, said it again. I'm just saying, once you make a comment, I'm just saying, you know, it's like redundant. It bothers me. We just leave comments in personal text. I'm just saying, I feel like it's a personal attack, and we're going back and forth. Now we can just let it go. I'm just saying, you wasn't a receptionist. That's good. I'm just saying, let's move on with the business at hand.
The item B is update on Marina Village parking garage management.
Board Chairman, board members, Mike Simon, Assistant Director with the CRA. I just wanted to provide this item on the agenda for you just to, again, kind of give you an update on the conditions of the garage. As the Master Board of Marina Village had voted, there will be the fees beginning on Friday, the 13th. Friday and Saturday and Sunday will be the days of charge between 7 and 9 p.m., and that will run between February 13th and June 14th during that time period, height of season, if you will. As I said in the agenda cover, Vivian and I have been working hard to get an agreement in front of the owner of the Bank of America site, which we did. Their attorney has made some adjustments that we were told today, and it's being reviewed with them. There's other sites that we have and are still trying to get available to the public, whether that be through a similar agreement to the Bank of America site or some other arrangement. But just so you know, if you're asking the public, that fee will begin on Friday, and it's only the 3 days, and it's only for that time period of February 13th to the 14th of June.
It's only on weekends, Friday,
Saturday, and Sunday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m.
We've given our tenants, we've given them passes so they can park in that garage with no charge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've given each of them one pass to park in the garage.
Great, thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, thank you. Mr. Simon, I need to make sure that this is not something that the CRA is doing.
That's correct, Commissioner, or Board Member McCray. The Marina Village Master Association, as owner of the master property of Marina Village, is enacting the fee. The CRA or any other commercial tenant within Marina Village, the other spa, the Marina Bites, none of them have the authority to implement that fee. It's the board. We're simply responding to it.
Thank you. You answered my question. I need to have it for the record. So if anybody asks, is the CRA charging? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other
Mr. Chair?
questions? Yes.
Even though, Mike, it's not a CRA project, but shouldn't our legal attorney be abreast of those changes that you were talking about earlier? Or should they be involved at all? In terms of, you said there were some changes being made in the wording?
Well, we sent the document to the Bank of America owner in rough form so that they had a form to work with to get back to us for us to have something to review. They were not preparing the document in any way on their own. So
I got you.
rather than wait for that to happen, we just initiated one based on the agreements that he's signed in the past for the special events. CRA staff tweaked that to kind of accommodate a longer-term use, even though it's temporary, so that they had the basic terms to work with, give us comments back, and then we would get it to the CRA Board attorney. Absolutely. It's just, we wanted to get something in front of them to start that ball rolling.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier. We've learned that if we wait for another party to begin that process, if it's not a motivation for them, it was more of a motivation for us to have it done, so we really had to kind of be the push behind it.
Okay. I don't think there's any action
no, sir,
required. That was
just
just an
information
update.
only. Yes,
Item C is consideration of purchase agreement with Gardner Capital for CRA-owned property along the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard corridor.
Thank you, Chair. At the December 9th, 2014 meeting, Gardner Capital presented a letter of interest on CRA-owned property on the Martin Luther King corridor, and the board was interested enough to instruct staff to issue a notice of intent to dispose of property. No other interested party came forward with a proposal on this property. Excuse me. They did attempt to try to get land use zoning and site plan approval for the 2014 Florida Housing Finance tax credit cycle, but there was too short of a time frame to get that happening. So they're back here to see if we can get this purchase agreement approved with you. We have worked together with them on the agreement. Basically, the agreement is a standard purchase and development agreement that we have done in the past. They're offering for the property that we own on the south side. If you look at the exhibit on page, let me get to that page, sorry. It's the last page of the document. You'll see which parcels are marked in yellow that belong to the CRA. They had not initially, but in our discussions had said, well, maybe we'd want the north side too, on the north side of MLK that the CRA owns. But I'm really thinking we need to reserve that for commercial, because the Family Dollar developer is interested in perhaps bringing a full-service grocer and other neighborhood retail to that side. So I think we need to reserve that for that purpose, and he is working towards that end. So basically, they're offering in this agreement $600,000 for those 10 parcels, and the agreement will last until they go through the cycle with Florida Housing Finance through 2015, and they're going to allow them to take it through, get it through the whole approval, permitting, getting it constructed, everything. So they asked me for 2 years initially, and I had said no, because I don't know what next year, the following year will look like. I don't know what the land would be worth. I don't know what kind of interest there would be in the land. So I did put in there that there would be an option to renew the agreement if both parties were in agreement to that. So that's the only real change in this standard agreement.
Question is, when you say 2-year agreement versus 1-year agreement, you're basically saying if we don't get it for the year, say 2015 or 16, then the following year we're giving them the okay to try again?
If they come back to you and you are willing to do that, if they want to do it next year and you want to do it next year, it's in there.
Basically, the terminology, the way you're phrasing it.
It's not automatic.
Yeah, but basically, because of the reputation of this company, and initially, obviously, I was totally for it, and I'm for it again. The idea is we're putting sort of like a pause in it. Let's see what happens, and then move
right, because there could be new board members, so I didn't want to commit a future board. The other thing you need to know is that if they do get the land use and the rezoning and the site plan, and they are not successful, and they choose, and both parties agree not to move forward, the CRA will reimburse them for those costs, other than legal and overhead, because we will own the land that's now entitled. So I felt that was a fair thing. They initially wanted us to pay for that up front, and I said, no, it's not our project, no. So, but I did agree that if we ended up back with the land, and they're not owning the land, we own it, and it's now fully entitled, that I agree that I do think that's a fair deal, because we didn't pay for that entitlement.
I'd just like to say regarding this project, not questioning the CRA, not questioning Gardner, to me this is as important or even more important as any development that we're hoping comes forth in the city of Boynton Beach. My personal feelings very strongly are if we're able to develop MLK, change the atmosphere of certain areas of this area, then what we're doing is we're truly developing our city, and all other developers who have land or want to buy land in Boynton Beach will step up to the plate and say, look what they've done to this area. And so hopefully, and I'll say this, and it's supposed to be respectful, hopefully all the gods will be with us that we get this grant and move forward on this project.
McCray.
Thank you, sir. This question is from Mrs. Brooks. Okay, if we go ahead and sell the land for $600,000, I understand all the other legality you just said. I'm fine with that. When do we receive the $600,000?
At construction loan closing.
Okay, and then when we receive that, it goes into our account?
Goes into our account.
Okay.
The agency's account.
Agency, okay. Thank you.
Fitzpatrick?
Well, first of all, how much did this, I thought on past listing of properties, we kind of worked out that we were going to show how much they're worth now and how much we bought them and what's the property, appraised for on Papa. So there isn't, I don't see any of that.
It's appraised for a lot less. I didn't put that in here. It was in December's. It was in December's. I didn't reinsert it this time. I apologize. But it is on the property appraiser. It's assessed for less than that. We paid more than what they're offering, but what it's assessed for today, of course, we paid at the height of the market when we had a lot of money. But the norm in CRAs is you are writing down the cost of the land to get the project done to incentivize the project.
I understand. I don't have a problem with that. I just like to, see all the facts, like how much it was we did pay for it.
I could resend that to you from December.
That's no problem. Okay. On the notice, this was in December. How much do we normally put in time for, is this like an RFP or something? Or?
No, they did a letter of intent, just like Family Dollar did. They came in and said, hey, we're interested in these two parcels, and you can do it. You can do an RFP if you know you have a property you want to get out, or people can come in and say, hey, we're interested. Then you can do a notice of intent to dispose, which is what the process we did with Family Dollar.
So basically, how's a notice of intent or to dispose work? How many days is given on that, or where is it advertised?
You advertise it in a newspaper of regular circulation, and you you have to bring any proposal you get to the board for consideration. We didn't receive any, so then we bring this to you. If you want to approve it, you don't have to approve it. Of course, it's your
right.
Up to you.
Of course, it's what's going to be built. Perhaps it's intention. It's vague, and I understand because it's early in the process. Is it is it going to be market driven or Section 8 or what?
People confuse Section 8, but the pool of money they're going after. No, let's start with the Heart of Boynton plan, number one. They can build under the Heart of Boynton plan up to 20 units to the acre, which would be ambitious given all the other landscaping, parking regulations they have to meet. Then the next thing is, I think it's 45 feet in height as well as their limit. But again, you're also limited by all the other things too. So they may not get that height just by all the other constraints. The next thing they're going for is the Florida Housing Finance Corporation 9% tax credits. The 9% tax credits is a scoring system. Your project has to score at least a minimum number to get into the lottery, and then if you get a good number, you might be picked. Generally, one project is picked in Palm Beach County each year. I don't know how many projects were even submitted last year, but it's a very good way of funding a project in a difficult-to-develop census tract, which this is. So what it does is it gives all the money to develop. It gives tax credits, which are sold, which gives you the cash to build the construction. So that, and then the rents are limited based on the county's median household price.
Okay, so it's kind of like rent subsidized?
The rent is, the construction is subsidized, then the rent is capped, and then it goes up based on whether incomes go up and other factors.
What's the estimated income for these kind of apartments?
On this, I'm not really sure. Our income in Palm Beach County is fairly high, so they're not that bad. A one-bedroom could be $700, a two-bedroom can be $950, a three-bedroom can be $1,500.
It says that we have, from what I read, we have approval of what it looks like and that sort of thing.
Yes.
What happens if, there's a big disagreement with what they want and what we want? What happens then?
Number one, that's before they get the property, so then it just doesn't happen.
Okay, so all that happens before.
Right.
All right, so all those little details will be worked out before there's any transfer of land.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And there's a reverter clause, so.
All right. I'll go ahead, and then I got a question.
The Gardner Capital, what's their history with their tax credit projects?
Alan Schneier is with them, and Alan Schneier ran, I'll let him come and talk to you, but I've known Alan from Palm Beach County HCD, Housing and Community Development, and he's been in a tax credit business for some time, so I'll let him tell you his experience.
Good evening.
Thank you, Vivian. First name is Alan, last name is Schneer, and it's a pleasure for me to see my former county commissioner, Ken Spilius, here, who he was the best. I just want to say that when I was director of housing and community development many decades ago. So it is a phenomenal program, the tax credit program.
What's your address, sir?
I live at 10489 Mateo Circle in Boca Raton, Florida. Thank you. Mateo Court, I apologize. I was on the original committee that helped create the tax credit program back in 1986, and it is one of the best programs to come out of Washington ever as far as developing affordable rental housing. It's geared for families that earn up to 60% of the area median income. Palm Beach County, the median income is about $63,600, so 60% of that is about $44,000. It's geared for, and I argued about this, I apologize for digressing, when I was on the committee back in 1986, 85, that it's a misnomer by calling it the low-income housing tax credit program. They should have called it the Affordable Income Housing Tax Credit Program, but Congress would have never passed it because it didn't have enough sizzle behind it to get a lot of congressmen behind it. So they put the monkey on it, which adds a stigma, unfortunately, over the years, because the type of housing that is being built is no different than what you would see in a market rate development with all the upscale amenities that you would want to see. Nice countertops, nice everything. You would be extremely proud of it, and at your convenience, I like to take you to Lake Worth on a development that I recently did that is state-of-the-art. So what it does is it provides equity. The selling of the low-income housing tax credits provides equity to developers, so we have less debt. And when you have less debt, you could go after an affordable population, and that's the key. We're lowering the debt by increasing the equity. So there's more equity in the development than there is debt.
And so what's your history with the tax? Have you used these before?
I've closed in my lifetime.
How many projects have you completed with the tax credit program?
As a developer, I've completed 6, 7, but as an investor, I was an investor in tax credit programs. I did about 20,000 units, where I would actually I represent the company that would buy the tax credits from the developer. So I was on the financing, engineering side of it.
So you've had history with the tax credits?
Since
and you've
1986.
been successful with
Yes,
it?
yes,
That was
sir.
my question. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
And this, you might explain this, Vivian, just a couple more questions real quick. The reverter clause. Can you explain the reverter clause in the agreement that protects the taxpayer?
In other words, if they don't meet the timeline, there's a development timeline within the agreement. If they fall behind, we can say we don't want to go further. Now, if they fall behind and they have a good reason and you feel it's defensible, we can continue on. But we can...
Who arbitrates that timeline? Is it
the board?
We do? Okay, so we determine if it's reasonable or not.
You can say they haven't submitted a construction permit.
Okay.
They closed on. Now, if they're going to close on, if they get the tax credits and they close on the tax credits, everything's going to happen because they're under a very tight time frame with that. But if they don't get the tax credits, and nothing's going to happen anyway. No property transfers. We still own it. No harm, no foul.
But the only thing that we will do is we will add entitlement to that property. We are paying for the rezoning and land use changes, so we will entitle the property. So
ones that we just talked about, you talked about earlier, we're going to pay for, if they don't get the land, we're going to pay back the money
within
for that.
30 days. If they don't come, if they are unable to finance the project,
Right.
they will have to submit their costs to us. Like I said, except overhead and legal, to us and related to the entitlement of the property. And those are, within this agreement, they are allowable costs.
And I think you might have mentioned this, the average income is about $44,000 that be renting these units?
well, the maximum is 44,000. The average will probably be in the mid to upper 30s.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
My question, it says here that you were trying to do this, submit those tax credits in 2014. You missed the deadline, but because you were unable to get the project through the city land use and zoning process in time for the February deadline. Have you gotten this through the city land use and zoning process now?
No, well, the new deadline will be, the next application cycle will be towards the end of this calendar year, maybe January of 2016. So we want to start right now so we don't miss any deadlines, because there will be other funding opportunities coming down the road in the late fall. So we don't want to miss any opportunities to bring a development to the area.
Well, I guess my question is, what is the potential for the city getting this land use and zoning process done?
The reason it didn't happen before is because the time that the letter of intent came to us was December. So
Yeah.
it was really not the city's fault. It just came at the timing. It was nothing to do with the city or anything. Just the whole timing of it was too late.
So are you telling me they have to come to the city commission to get some land use and zoning
They
changes?
will have to go through the whole process that anyone else would, a P&D, all that, and they have time now.
That has to be done because they're not going to submit for these tax credits until the
Right.
2015 cycle, which is when?
It will be probably January of 2016. Yes, sir.
See, and well, the reason I'm asking these questions, what concerns me is we've had this vacant land sitting there forever, and we're waiting, and people are in the heart of Boynton saying, when are you going to do something, when are you going to do something? Now, and when would you know, let's say you submitted it in January, when would you know whether or not you get the tax credits?
We will know in February, no later than March, and
So
then
we're talking a year away before we even know whether he's going to be able to do it. And this is not an easy thing to do, get these tax credits. Like you said, you get one maybe in all of the Palm Beach County. So it's a really questionable to me whether that would ever happen. And my concern there, I guess my only concern there is that here we sit another year with nothing going on because we're waiting for one developer to hope something happens with tax credits out of Tallahassee. I'm not saying anything negative about you. I'm just trying to see the reality of the situation.
Well, we'll look at
Meanwhile, if somebody else wanted to do something, we said we can't do it because we're tied up with this deal.
The difficulty is in this area because the income is so low. The income in that neighborhood or that census tract is $22,000 average median income. I doubt you're going to get anybody that's going to come in with anything but a tax credit deal. The beauty of it is it will be entitled and ready to go for the following. We're not going to have to wait that 4 or 5 months of going through the entitlement process. So, I mean, yes, that part alone, if we did it ourselves, takes 4 or 5 months.
We're not signing a contract per se that we're tied into this gentleman and his company. In other words, because what I heard you say is that it seems like we're tied in. You also said, if I heard correctly, that there's potentially other grants that you're involved with, that if this one doesn't come, then maybe another will come.
Yes,
so
sir.
what I'm hearing from you is now that you have the time that you need, it's not a last-ditch effort, that you will not only move forward with this potential, but potentially other grants, and then we'll have a choice of which way we can go.
Excuse me, sir. We intend
That's
to
all right.
pursue every financing opportunity that is out there, whether it's from Florida Housing Finance Corporation or Palm Beach County government, to have the financing in place to make this reality.
Yeah, but what you are doing, and what you're talking about, if we pass this tonight, we're entering into a purchase and development agreement with this company to see if they can pull this off. And we're going to be locked in until that happens, yes or not.
Vivian, are
Yes
we
or no?
locked in?
Yes, you are locked in for a little over a year.
I'm talking 2016.
Yeah.
And so that's what I
Now,
was
if they
questioning.
fail to not meet the financing period that's in here, you can back out. You can back out. You can say, hey, you're not hitting it. You can back out at that point.
Fitzpatrick?
I understand what Mayor Taylor's saying about that it's been a long wait. Personally, I'm willing to wait a little longer because of the tax credit means that it'll be a higher value, higher quality project when it's done, which will in turn hopefully attract higher rents. So it's a trade-off, no doubt about it. But I think the higher quality of each individual unit has a lot of value.
Question, if I may.
Mr. Chair.
Again, I bring up the point I bring before, okay? You said, quote unquote, we're locked into this company. I then earlier asked you the question that not only are you trying to get this grant, but you'll be trying to get other grants. So it's not like we're stagnant, if I'm hearing correctly, that you will be trying to open many doors or several doors. So basically then what I'm hearing is we're hiring a company to investigate, explore, and get this done, not just on one street, meaning one way, many ways. So we're really just hiring the company to get it done, as if X amount of companies went out for bid and we picked this one to do the job.
Any other questions?
Yes. True or false?
Hey?
True. Yeah,
I mean, you got to make a declarative statement on that.
Your contract is with GCI. How they get it done, it's not limiting them to the
One
tax
way.
credits. No.
So we're hiring a company, just not one path, not one
Right.
street.
Correct.
And that's a big difference.
That is correct.
I just
Yeah.
question. I agree with what Board Member Fitzpatrick is saying, because I'm looking at what are the alternatives here. We only had the one.
No one.
Okay? And I don't see anybody else stepping up to the plate. Whatever goes in there is worth the wait to get it right, because we really don't want to have to turn that into something that we are not happy with. So it's an unfortunate situation, but that's the way it is. If the 9% credit tax does not come through, I mean, that's basically a showstopper. I don't see a contingency plan here other than...
That's not true. That's not what he's just doing.
Well, hold on. I want to hear that clarification again.
There are various opportunities.
Please.
There are various ways from a financing standpoint to get it done, but there are a lot more hurdles. They're more difficult. But as a developer of affordable rental housing, you turn over every stone, every way to make reality, to make these communities a reality. And we're just not going to sit down and say we only got one way to go. We're going to attack this on various different fronts. I know from experience, if we're fortunate enough to receive a 9% housing tax credit, that's like platinum. But there are other ways to get to that platinum. It's just going to take a lot more digging, a lot more work, and that's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make this a reality, find a way to make it a reality. And the other thing is we're taking a piece of property and we're going to help entitle that property so at some point in the day, if we should fail and no one knows what the future is going to bring, someone else will get the benefits of that improved property later on down the road. So I look at this as a great opportunity for us to work together in partnership.
Board Member McCray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sir, you just said what I need to hear. That is, if you fail, then we already got everything in place for somebody else to come in and go ahead and continue to move the project forward. I'm just saying we got the land and everything in the right perspective. We've been through all the avenues with the city, and whoever comes in, it's almost like we pay for this, you take it now and run with it. I understand now.
Buchanan?
Yes, I mean, a year sounds like a long time, but we're going to be getting 6 months' worth of work done that year. If we went out and tried to attract other people, if we could get them within 6 months, and then we did the 6 months of work on top of that, we're still a year away. And while none of us want to see it drag out, I think this is a very viable way to proceed. And with that, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the purchase and development agreement.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Vince Patrick.
I have one more question. Vivian, if they don't get the tax credit, the platinum level, can they come back and say, hey, we couldn't get our tax credits, instead of granite countertops we want to do for Formica? Do we have the option then of backing out?
What will most likely happen is they will either come back and say, can we offer you less for your property? That would be one thing. Or they're going to say, can you give us a DIFA? They probably won't dumb the project down, because number one, that's usually not the route we've opted to go ever. So that's probably how I see what would happen.
Can I answer? We cannot afford, we have investors, whether it's on the 9%, which is the platinum, or we get the 4% tax credit, which is a little bit lower than the platinum. As an owner, we want to build with the finest quality materials because we want to defer as much maintenance cost as possible. So you will see Corinthian countertops, you will see wood flooring, you would see tile flooring, because we know as owners that's the way that we reduce our maintenance and our overhead, and we have to keep our rents at a certain level. So that's what we do. And at your convenience, I would love to take you individually or collectively to see an example of one right up the street.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I just want to say on the discussion that I think it was important. I really appreciate this, the questions that were asked and the comments that were made. I agree with everything that was said. Really good. And it was good to get all that out in the open so we all know where we are on this. So very good. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So the motion is unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you.
Best of luck. I hope you get the tax
Appreciate
credits.
it. Thank you.
Right, Mr. Chair, while he's up there, excuse me, what is your name?
First name is Allan, A-L-L-A-N. Last name is Schneer, a nice Irish name, S-C-H-N-I-E-R.
Okay, I'd like to do disclosure. I did meet with him. I'm just saying I don't want nothing to come up and say, oh, I met with you. Yeah, I did meet with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I think I already know the answer to my question, but I'll ask it anyway. Is there anything that we could do to help this project along other than what we've already done?
Cross your fingers.
Pray.
Any kind of support.
Pray.
Maybe our lobbyists could help us when it gets to,
We're going up
Okay,
to our
you know,
Palm
that's-
Beach County days. It would be something we talk to our lobbyists about, maybe if they have any input on tax increment credit. It wouldn't be bad to bring that up.
Yeah, that's next month.
be looking for this.
Right?
Yeah. See if he can help us in that, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. My daughter Jeannie, would you raise your hand, please?
She spoke to the
They
mayor.
already
Did
got
she already
the-
talk to you? Oh, okay. I was going to make sure you guys got together.
Right, you're a bad father. You don't pay attention to what your daughter's doing.
I'm busy running a meeting. Okay, next item is consideration of development agreement terms with H.H. Boynton LLC for Ocean Breeze East.
Thank you, Chair. Staff and the development team met on January 9th to try to hammer out some terms to get Ocean Breeze East moving, one of our major sites in the heart of Boynton. We really want to make this happen. Just to give a little primer, this is a 4.5-acre site that the CRA owns on Seacrest, and the developer responded to an RFP, and they are proposing to build about 200 units and 12,000 square feet of medical office on the site. Where we're kind of coming at odds is how much does the CRA put in and how much do they put in. The respondent is the adjacent property owner, owns some rental property right adjacent. We did desire to redevelop the entire block, so it would have the most impact to the community. I did receive on February 5th from Steve Michael basically the attached letter. Hopefully you all got to read it. Essentially the terms that they're asking for is that that our land is purchased by them, or by the development entity, for $500,000 in 15 years at 4% non-compounded interest. That was number one. Number two, that we pay for the site improvements, the sidewalks, landscaping, and streetlights. The estimated cost of that is $600,000. These items were required in the RFP of the developer. And then number three, a TIF agreement, or direct incentive funding agreement, for 50% of the tax increment revenue created by the project for a 15-year term. My comments about this is that the CRA land is basically writing down the value from approximately, depending on how many units go on it. The Heart of Boynton plan update allows up to 40 units to acre on our site, on that site. And so the value of the land can be anywhere from $3.2 million to $6.4 million. So we're writing down our land significantly. And I don't think we should wait to get our land, the cost of our land, for 15 years. The adjacent property owner will get the uptick on his property value at construction loan closing, and I think we should get our property cost at construction loan closing as well. The DIFA, I recommend that we do. I'm okay with doing that because it's really sharing in the value of the project over time, but not for 15 years, a 10-year one. That will be approximately $1.5 million if it's a 15-year term. So I don't agree with that. The streetscape improvements, they're really looking at between $5.3 million and $8.5 million request from us for this project. The project value is completed at $21 million. That's the estimated value. So I think that's a little more than we had thought we would want to put in there. So I'm recommending that we don't hold a loan for our land, that we get it out at the construction loan closing like anyone else does. And everyone else is agreeing, Family Dollar, Gardner, everyone else is agreeing to give us our land at closing. So I think we should get that like anyone else. The streetscape improvements were right there in the RFP, so we should get those. They can be financed in the project as well, so I don't think that's an issue. I am in agreement with doing a DIFA for the project, but not for 15 years, for 10. And I think if the developer can agree to these terms, and I think this is a project that is a doable project in this time right now. The developer owns his land. He's getting a great deal on our land. I think it's a financeable project if the developer is a financeable developer. I think the next time, if we have to go back to RFP, the deal's going to look very different. If you guys are in agreement, if we're in agreement, we can bring back a purchase and development agreement at the next meeting in March.
I'd like to make a statement. I agree with you, not a 15-year DIFA, but a 10-year DIFA. The stalling, I'll use a stronger language than you use, of not making payments till the end, I find it's ridiculous. And as far as the cost of approximately $600,000 that the CRA has to lay out, I find that questionable, the amount. I think it's a wonderful dream that he's asking for. It's financial, it's greed, it's all the other good things, yet the project itself could be a wonderful project.
Right.
So, to me, I would like this to be negotiated, no conclusion to come at this meeting, give it another 30 days or so, and the reality of the presentation should come forward.
Mr. Board Member Costello.
Yes, Vivian, other than this letter that you received in February here, have you had any verbal communications with this developer?
We met on January 9th.
That was the last time?
That was it.
That was it. This doesn't look like anything like the original RFP we put out there in those terms that we first agreed upon.
It's
been all modified.
It's not that bad, I have to say. It is all a matter of negotiation. But again, we got to look at the neighborhood we're working in. We are working to move it forward. It is, again, these are, if you look it up on the, HUD's census tract, these are difficult to develop census tracts. So, however, the property owner adjacent to us is getting $1.50 a foot for his rent. So I think we're on the right track. I think we can get there. I think we can produce a great product, and I think I do not want to leave this meeting without firm direction from this board that these are your.
In our meetings on one-on-one, you were telling me the difficulty in the communication with this guy and how he was asking for more than what we originally agreed upon. Was that correct?
No, I think that's pretty normal. I think we've experienced.
But we sent an RFP. We set parameters in RFP. Says this. This has all been twisted and turned.
Right.
So why are we even dealing with it now?
Well, we can
and
go
I understand
out.
the difficulty of the tract of land, but this difficulty of tracts of land in the heart of Boynton and how hard it is. We just can't be giving away the store just because it's a hard thing to do.
I agree.
We just got to work harder.
And that's why I'm saying don't do it.
Thank you.
Hold the line.
Well, I'd like to jump in, and I'll get that to you, Fitzpatrick. First of all, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you I don't agree to any of the three terms that are being presented to us here. I disagree with all of them. And I'm not sure what I'm even considering here tonight, because when this was brought to us and they explained what they were going to build there and all the different units and the parking and the clubhouse and this, I don't know what we're getting now. In fact, I don't even know who is involved in the, is it Hudson? Hudson, yeah. Before it was Hudson and this other partner.
Right. They're here tonight.
Okay, and then it was, they were talking about the group out of Delray being involved in it, I guess. Auburn. Are they? I don't know if they are or not. I don't know that. Not been said to me. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. But so I don't even know who's involved anymore. And there was at the last meeting, there was one of them complained that they didn't get to present or something. So I want to go back and hear it again. I want to know what they're planning to build there before I agree to anything. And again, I don't agree to any of these three terms. If it was in the RFP that they would do the sidewalks and landscaping and streetlights, and they ought to be, that's what they agreed to when they accept the RFP, for one thing. Again, I agree, too, that if we're going to get paid for our land, it ought to be paid at closing, whenever that is. And And as the other thing, it's the TIF thing is way too many years, blah, blah. Anyway, I need to start back and hear what we're talking about before I'd make any decision.
We've had quite a few. There's been some design revisions, and so I am also. All I've seen is more blocks, like on paper, a site plan, not really renderings. So perhaps an idea would be, because I really think we want to move this forward, and I'm not saying that for any other reason except the interest rates are very good, and we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot and stop a project. If these people are still interested and if they want to move forward under the terms you set, and if the project is in design, you have full design approval. That is always your prerogative, 100%.
I knew what we were approving before. I saw it. They presented it to us, and now I see nothing except I'm getting 200 units in a medical building. That's all I know. Haven't seen anything.
Well, that was the RFP response.
Right. Mr. Chair, I agree with you. Right now, it is thoroughly confusing, even with what Vivian is saying, what has been presented to us. We have something they're here tonight. I motion that we table this until we can get some, get a handle on what is going on before they come and present anything to us. We already know what we will not accept. I'm just saying, can we just table this until they're ready to present to us? I'm just saying, because we're going to be spinning our tires, not getting
anywhere. Motion to table?
Yes, so
motion
moved.
to table.
But can
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Wait,
Aye.
can
That
we have
ends
some
discussion.
discussion?
Once it's been tabled, no more discussion. Thank you. Next is new business, discussion of rent reimbursement grant to the Boynton Beach Dive Center, LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I guess, is this where I had the question about
Yes.
the square footage?
Yes.
That's
It's been a long evening. Yeah, you said it fell a little less than what that qualifies for the build-out?
Yes.
You go ahead. If you
Go
want.
ahead.
Well, the program parameters are that the business increases its square footage by 50% of what it has currently. That's the reason why it's in front of you. Every other condition of the application and every other condition of the applicant are met. It's just that particular item was not able to be under consent.
Okay.
Staff certainly supports it. We're assisting a business that's existing in Boynton to relocate to an empty building. It's all
Michael,
great.
all great stuff.
Yes, sir.
I'm on board with it.
Okay.
Is it a slippery slope we get on? I mean, is there, with other people coming towards us for, build-outs and things, and they don't meet the square footage, the 50% square footage? I mean, where do we end that number, and where do we start that number?
Well, one of the things that staff is doing now, going into our next budget year, and currently with the existing funding amounts that are available, is going over what are the conditions of the grant as they exist. What are some hindrances, perhaps, to, obviously there's always cycles in our grant program. Some years we pound out $300,000 in the year, and the next year we kind of stagnate. So are there any things as staff that we can see in the grant that might need to get tweaked? Perhaps the square footage is one. There's some other conditions we're looking at. Right. But currently, the intent is to save and promote businesses within Boynton. So all of those things are met. In the past, we've gone the discussion with legal on waivers, not waivers, special conditions. The consensus at the time was that rather than granting a waiver, which then begins the discussion of the special conditions, that each grant applicant and application stands on its own, and the board has the right to decide whether to approve or not. Just with this one, you might not on the next one that's the same, and you'd have valid reason to do that.
The other thing there is that there's no space in the building to expand into.
Correct.
And also, they are almost doubling the retail space
Yes,
that they had at the other.
That's what I was about to
I'm
point out.
excited about that. I make a motion that we pass that.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Anybody in public want to address this? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So the motion unanimous. Discussion of interior build-out grant to Boynton Beach Dive Center, LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Most second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed, show the motion unanimous.
Thank you, Board. I also wanted to point out, for those of you who don't know, or identified the address, the building next to the pantry that has been vacated by Ms. Brooks, and she's moved her business, that's the location that now will be reoccupied. The Yachtsman's Plaza is going through its great regeneration, so I think it's really apropos to do it. So thank you for your support.
It's great to fill that vacant spot on Federal Highway. That's a great
Mike, you're
move.
up again.
Consideration of invitation to bid for marine fuel dispenser replacement project.
Yes, Board. Again, Mike Simon with the CRA Assistant Director. The issue in front of you is the consideration of releasing an invitation to bid for the replacement of the marine fueling dispensers. This item is part of the Phase 2 project for the Harbor Master Building and the fuel development of the station, the advancement of what we have there. You can see from the backup the condition of the products that we have now. We did not put this under the Harbor Master Building construction project because of the nature of the items that we're going to be redoing. We did use the contractor to do some of the underground work while we were doing the site improvements to prepare for the above ground, essentially just a replacement of equipment is what we're doing now. Because it's above the $25,000 procurement, we had to do a formal RFP.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. A motion is second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Show the motion unanimous.
Thank you.
Can I just what kind of fuel, where do we buy the fuel from? Is it like Mobil or Shell or?
No, we buy it from the port of Miami, just
In
like,
bulk?
yes, sir, in bulk, yes, sir,
Okay.
through a distributor, and they deliver it in tanks just like you would if we owned, it's a gas station, same
Great,
thing.
thanks.
Thank you.
One other little question, Mike, how many larger boats do you anticipate? You think it's going to be a big increase?
Well, I
Because
think
that's why they're not stopping now, because it takes too long.
I think I think there will be an increase in that we will have boats that just generally drive by. There's another, Palm Beach Yacht Center has fueling capacity for, let's say, ours are at 18.
Where's the closest one?
Just south of Lantana Bridge, Ocean Avenue, there by the Key Lime House. So those boats will just have to keep journeying by us until we have the ability. We're going from 18 gallons per minute to between 40 and 60. So if you have, several thousand gallons of tank, it makes a difference all day versus a couple hours. So
I bring my yacht by.
We'll be ready.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So motion unanimous. Item D, consideration of addition of domestic partnership policy and revision of non-discrimination policy.
Question, please.
Well, let's get a motion on the floor.
So
first.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, second. Yes, go ahead, staff. Did you want to say something?
Harris, Finance Director. This is before you today because the city has recently enacted a domestic partner policy, and since we use the city's vendors, and in recognition of the fact that domestic partnerships are being recognized nationwide nowadays, we wanted to bring our policies in line with what's happening currently.
And basically, it's the same as we did for the city.
It will be the same. We do have to incorporate it in our HR policy, which is separate from the city, so we'd hand it off to our attorneys to make sure that everything is compliant with Florida statute and the city. But we'll have the same regulations in terms of affidavits and proof and things like that, yes.
What's fair for one is fair for all.
Yes.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I would just say I voted against this when it came up in the city, and I will be voting against it again tonight for the CRA.
And I will
All in
vote
favor?
yes.
Aye.
All opposed? No.
Nay.
So the motion passes 5-2. Executive Director's report. Development projects update.
Do you have any questions on this? This is just basically I'm giving you an update on
Just
what's
shows
happening.
my only thing would say, if you think nothing's happening, all you got to do is take this page and look at it on both sides, and it's incredible what's going on in the CRA. There's just tremendous amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, at least 11 on both sides, and probably 22 different projects that are underway here. Just fantastic work. So my only comment. New business in CRA district. There was 2 listed here. What is the Ashura Entertainment LLC? What do they do?
Not sure. We haven't reached out to them. We just got this list before the before the board packet, so we haven't reached out to them yet.
Okay.
So
I just wondered what they did. I wasn't familiar
We'll have
with
to
it.
reach out to them and give them our information.
Good. Anything else come before the board?
I have several things.
Okay.
One is that I was kind of shocked today when I read in the newspaper that Radio Shack is leaving our mall. That was one thing. I'd just like to say, to Commissioner Fitzpatrick, I listen to what you had to say, sir, and I'm not a person that is bitter and everything. I don't carry hatchets and I don't carry gavels and everything. And, I came on this board to work with everybody, and the life that I live, I cannot live it one way here and live it another way, Just want to tell you, when you walked in, you did not say good afternoon, sir. We're still friends. The sun is going to come up in the morning, whether we like it or not. Thank you, sir.
I would ask is it Tara, our attorney? Would you like to say anything, introduce yourself to the board, or talk about yourself a little bit? I think the board, what we do, as our other attorney is leaving here, we got to decide whether we want to stay with the firm or if we want to do something else. So that should throw that open just for a little discussion here.
Sure. My name is Tara Dewey. I actually came before you with Mr. Spilius when we were interviewing for the job, so to speak, and I have been working with your staff very closely on most of the issues that are on your agenda, though you've gotten to see Mr. Spilius's lovely face up here.
I object.
So do I. I second.
I have been a practicing attorney in the state of Florida for 10 years, and I do a great deal of development work both for local governments and local government entities such as the CRA, as well as for private developers in other areas. So I really believe I will be a good representative of you and give you good counsel, and I look forward to the opportunity to do so.
I understand you have quite a background in development issues.
I do, yes.
You were involved in a huge one up there in West Palm, I understand, yeah.
I was one of lead counsel on the Minto West approval in Palm Beach County.
Right.
So I am able to see these issues from all sides, but when sitting in this chair, I represent the CRA, and I will be happy and pleased to continue to do so.
So,
Comments from the board?
Tara, you're the one who's been making Ken look good, huh?
As much as one can.
It's not working.
I have a
I have
question.
to say that we work
Yes,
very
that's
closely
great.
with Tara.
Right. My question is, we're not trying to make a decision tonight. We're just letting her introduce herself.
Correct.
It's nothing forced.
Yes,
Okay,
we
thank
can
you.
always put that
Yep.
on the agenda
Yep.
if somebody wants to discuss it, but
And
as
my-
of now, she's the representative.
And my only question is what is normal procedure for us to take? Should it go out for bid? Should we let the year finish up? Or is it our decision
It's
to
our,
wait till the budget, the next budget?
it's our decision on any of those positions you mentioned.
So this will be brought up again, and then we'll make our decision.
I hope I make it easy.
Mr. Chairman, I would
No lawyer makes it easy.
I would point out that, when you hired us, you did hire the firm with me as general counsel, but we've always worked for you at will. There's no specific time period on the contract. I've always felt when we've represented governments in the past that that's the way to do it. If you're not satisfied with counsel, you should always have the right on a moment's notice to change. And as long as we're making you happy, we hope that you'll keep us on. That's
Good point. We've hired the firm, not an individual. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I got-
Yes, Mr. Patrick.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say to Mr. McRae that I'm still good with Vivian's suggestion. I would like to, talk things out face-to-face sometime. The other thing is, it seemed to me an observation tonight that we're slowly developing a DIFA, I think that's the right word, policy, where it's kind of like we go for 10 years, 4, 3, and 3, and it seems, I don't know, if that's the way it's headed, it sounds practical to me, that's all.
Right. Let me answer. Excuse me. Let me answer that while we're here. Commissioner Fitzpatrick, Board Member Fitzpatrick, I'd like to say as a representative for this city, I was sworn in, and I do respect the ethics law, the sunshine law here and that we have in the state of Florida. And I'm just saying, I really don't see any need that we have to meet. I don't have any disagreements with you. I'm just saying I'm all about moving the city forward, sir. I don't think we need to meet.
Understood.
Mr. Hay?
No, that was my point. I don't think they should be talking one-to-one like that.
Oh, no.
In violation of sunshine.
Okay.
Wait, I'd just like to point out, I think is an incorrect interpretation of the sunshine law. Could the lawyer tell us that if we're not I thought you can talk about past, but you cannot talk about future votes, but you can talk about past votes and expectations all you want.
It's an issue, isn't it?
I'm asking the lawyer.
Wait.
Okay,
Let him speak.
The rule of law under the sunshine is that you cannot talk about issues that are likely to come before the board in the future. So to the extent you are out socially and you're chatting or you're talking about past, that is fine. But if the issue is even remotely possible to come before you, it is not a good idea to have those discussions unless
What
it's been
about
noticed.
expectations of each other or how you would like to be treated or something like that? Is that off limits?
To the extent that it is with regard to any particular issue, whether it be general, I would advise not to,
Thank
just
you.
because
Thank
people are
you.
going to be coming after you, and
Thank you.
It's called common sense.
provide the opportunity.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Stand adjourned.